Hey guys, ticking clock here. Wanted to make a quick video and make some things known to you guys. On my channel here, I've uploaded two new playlists. The one is Snakes, Eclipses, and Lies. Oh my. And the other is Megaliths. What I found most interesting is the size of these megalith stones, and not only that, the connections of the construction of how they were made, but they're like little dovetails of like a metal staple that's put into place to hold the stones together. And in you find this in South America, and you find it in Greek architecture. You find it in Egyptian, and you find it in Asia. You really find it all over the world. And it's a very unique way to join stones together in a mortarless fashion. And not only that, you see these megaliths with perfectly cut stones, and you can follow that method of architecture and see that there has been a teaching and a method that has stretched across the globe, indicating to me there is more evidence of that global culture that did exist. And that's why the Vatican had to burn all the Mayan books. That's why they got rid of the Rongo texts. That's why we most likely cannot break down the languages of the Indus Valley and Rongo. You just see the evidence, but they're just so afraid of it coming out, because it would break down their religious structure. The other playlist is about the religious aspects of the snake and the eclipses, and also how Horus plays into this storyline. It's basically the story of Horus or Osiris on the solar boat, and how he can be attacked by the evil snake god Apep. And the first two videos here are very interesting. I'm not going to say everything in them I agree with 100%. They say that this represents the origins of the hierarchy, but you can look at groups of animals, monkeys, or whatever, cows, and they develop their own hierarchy. But what I will agree with them on is not necessarily that hierarchy is evil, but that the hierarchy we have is evil. The hierarchy we have has been developed through deceit and lies, and those are the people who are in power, unfortunately. And as a result of this deception, it has led humanity down a very awful path. So I just wanted to draw attention to these videos, and they point out how this mythology of the snake, which goes back tens of thousands of years. Here's an article about offerings to snake gods in Central Africa, and a snake monument that goes back 70,000 years, they think. And you find all sorts of snake symbolism in Asia also. And even if you think of the movie Conan the Barbarian, where that movie is centered around snake cults and how they are used to control people through deception, through fear and lies. And I really think that movie really touches on some really great points. Let me go back here. But if we look at especially these first two videos, you'll see that through the mythology of the snake and the eclipse, the people were told that the snake was going to eat the sun. And it was as a fear mechanism that was used to gain respect for their religion, and that was in itself used to control the masses. And so, yeah, I really highly recommend everyone check out this playlist here on that particular subject. And you can see there the symbolism of Horus and Apep to this day in governments, and you can see how the representation of the eagle represents Horus, and the continuous battle between the eagle and the snake. Here's an old mosaic from Turkey, and you can see the eagle, the snake, they're natural enemies. It can be observed in nature. However, it was taken to a mythological level, and where Horus, obviously, those of you who know about Egyptian mythology, represents the sun, and Apep represented the counterbalance to that. Here is some brief information on the constellation Aquila. I just want to get into something real quick on my map here. If we zoom in on Horus, we can see the representation of Horus here. Right underneath him we have the Temple of Hercules. Now, I've always thought that this area here of the Temple of Hercules looked quite a bit like a dog. And here you can see this is the Temple of Hercules. And here you can see if this were a representation of a dog, I never really thought about who it would be. I just thought that looks somewhat interesting and never really popped out at me quite like Horus did. But as I was doing some research, I thought, could that be a representation of Set? Here we have Set opposed to Horus, and I'm looking at it and I thought, man, that really could be Set. And so then I checked out Stellarium, and we have the constellation here of Horus on the left, and which is represented, I believe, by the constellation Aquila, who is said to be the carrier of Zeus's lightning bolts or arrows in Greek mythology. And then we have directly diopposed, once again, we have Canis Major, who is a dog, yet we have Set, who is strangely similar looking to a dog. And once again, we have the Temple of Hercules. I mean, if we look at this is a pretty pathetic excuse for a parking lot here. It looks more like an eye. This looks like the ear. And it's not that big of a deal to make these assumptions when we can clearly see across the globe that they have made plenty of images and depictions that point up, that can only be viewed from the sky. And there's no reason to believe that these could not be representations, pictorial representations of that. But yeah, we look here and we've got Aquila directly diopposed from Set, who is the evil uncle who killed Osiris and chopped him up into a bunch of pieces. Although he's also involved on the solar boat, and he helps to defeat the evil Snake Apep. So while he's part of the family and helps defeat the ultimate evil, which is Apep, he's still evil in his own regard, by murdering Osiris and chopping him up into 13 pieces. But I found it really interesting that he is directly diopposed from Aquila. And so I started looking into Aquila just a little bit here on Wikipedia, and you can check it out for yourself. But it's Latin for eagle. If we go down to the mythology section, you can see, yeah, he carried thunderbolts of Zeus. But what I found really interesting is if we go into Hinduism, which is much older, we can see that he was the half-man human deity eagle here. And now we're starting to get into territory that is very similar to the mythology of Horus, of the half-man, half-eagle representations. And you can check this out for yourself, but you start to see the evolution of religion, and this is the representation in the Hindu constellation of Garuda. So you can see the constellations have evolved, and they change the stories, and you start to lose the meaning, but we can always work our way back into the actual representation of what we're talking about. But I just wanted you guys, I really want you guys to check out this playlist, because I do believe that the eclipse was used to control the masses, and the fear of the sun blocking out in the sky could make anyone easy to rule. And Columbus did this when he came over to the Americas. He knew when the lunar eclipse was going to take place, and he used that event to make the natives help him when they were unwilling to. And we also know that Stonehenge is used to as a eclipse calculator, which they don't necessarily want to come out with clean. Although when you look at the evidence, it becomes very clear. Even the Antikythera mechanism was an eclipse predicting calculator. In one of the videos, he talks about that there's multiple stone circles across the world that can be used to predict eclipses. And I wasn't able to verify all of this, but however, I was able to verify hundreds of stone circles around the world.